Hi everyone, it's Monica with Rooted with Joy. I'm glad you're here. I spent some time reflecting on the days when I did martial arts. I did that with my friend Donna at a martial arts studio in Bloomington. And one of the things that I learned from the experience was basically how to get back up. Like when we were training, no, it wasn't just about kicks and punches. We spent hours, or it seemed like forever, in our practice just learning how to fall. We it would feel like forever, and we would hit the mat over and over. Um, you'd hear the thud of the bodies landing and a soft shuffle as everyone stood back up. At first, I was thinking, oh, why are we focusing on this? Because to be honest, it was not the most pleasant of activities doing that. When I was thinking, when I joined her with the class, I wanted to learn like the kicks, the throws, how to take somebody down, to be honest about it. But then I started to understand, falling's one of the cool things to learn in that. Because really, honestly, life will knock you down. And what matters most is not avoiding the fall, is learning how to rise again. How you find your footing after the impact. The lesson has stayed with me throughout the years. What I've learned since then, though, is that sometimes rising isn't as simple as standing up. Sometimes something may freeze us. We want to get back up, but we can't. And that's not weakness. That's often what trauma looks like. And, when people hear the word trauma, they often think of a big catastrophic events like accidents, violence, loss. And those are absolutely causes of trauma. But trauma can also come in smaller, repeated moments, like growing up in an unpredictable home, never feeling safe to express yourself, being criticized, ignored, or shamed. Trauma is any experience that overwhelms your ability to cope, especially if you go through it alone. It's what happens when your body and mind don't get the message that danger has passed. So your nervous system stays on alert. It's like you're always braced for another hit, even when life is calm. And that's where resilience gets blocked, because your body still believes it's in danger. Getting back up doesn't feel empowering. It actually feels really unsafe, risky. There are a few ways that it shows up. Like, first, your body stays on guard. You might notice tension in your muscles, shallow breathing, that constant readiness to react. So when something goes wrong, a mistake, a rejection, a tough conversation, it doesn't just sting. It emotionally floods you. Your body thinks we're falling again. Brace for impact. Second, trauma makes you lose trust in yourself and in others. If you've been hurt or let down, you start to doubt your instincts. When you question your worth, your judgment, your ability to handle things, that's when self-trust is shaky. Resilience feels out of reach. Third, trauma can isolate you. Sometimes connection once felt unsafe, so you learn to do everything alone. You tell yourself, I don't need help, when deep down you're longing for it. But resilience doesn't grow in isolation. It grows in safe connection, in moments where someone reminds you that you don't have to brace the fall by yourself. I remember a time in my own life when I got completely knocked off balance. It wasn't necessarily dramatic from the outside, but inside I felt broken. And what surprised me at the time was how long it took to get back up. There was this quiet shame to it, Like, why can't I just move on already? But that question itself is part of the wound, because healing isn't about bouncing back. It's about learning to rise at the pace your body can handle. And in that season, I started to realize sometimes resilience looks a lot like stillness. Like resting on the mat for a minute longer before you stand. Like reaching out for a hand instead of pushing yourself up alone. You know, that's resilience too. So you may be asking, like, how do we rebuild that ability to rise? Here's a few things. It starts small. So the first thing I'm thinking of is like grounding yourself. Like noticing your breath. Breath work is huge. Like you might do something where you feel your feet and remind your body that you're in a safe place right now. Reconnecting with others. Healing doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in safe relationships. People who don't rush your process, but sit beside you on the mat. Practicing core habits. Rest, movement, reflection, gratitude, prayer. These small things can strengthen your emotional core, the same way physical training strengthens your stance. And then finally, don't forget to show yourself compassion. You can't shame yourself into healing. You can only love yourself there. And every time you rise, even a little, your nervous system learns something new that is safe to try again. So next time when life knocks you down, remember this. You're not broken for finding it hard to get up. You're human. Trauma may have taught your body to brace for impact, but healing teaches you that it's safe to stand again. Every time you rise, even if it's slow and messy, you're retraining your system. You're rewriting your story. You're showing yourself, I can fall and still rise. You, my friend, are stronger than you think you are. And getting back up, that's part of your training. You know, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe. I would love to hear your story. And if you want to, share something in the comments, that would be great. Like, how do you get back up in the setbacks in your life? So if you're still on the mat, remember, my friend, don't do it alone. So I appreciate you watching this, and come back for more content. Thanks so much.